The OnePlus 10 Pro has finally launched globally and in India almost 3 months after it was launched in China. So there's no point going into an introduction right now. Anyway, I've used this phone as my primary driver for 10 days and this is my full review. I've also thrown in a comparison of the cameras with the iPhone 13 Pro Max just because the Hasselblad system has been upgraded to Hasselblad 2.0. If you don't know me yet, I'm Ershad, you're watching Trakin Tech English. Let's get on with the review. Now I want to start off with the camera comparison of the 10 Pro against the iPhone 13 Pro Max because I took these phones to NH7 weekend. Also, if you haven't watched it yet, we've already done a detailed camera comparison with the OnePlus 9 Pro. A link should pop up right now. Now starting off with the details, the 10 Pro's 50 megapixel sensor does capture slightly sharper images thanks to the larger sensor. But yes, there is a slight bit of over sharpening and you will have to be okay with that. However, the Hasselblad natural color science doesn't really match the color accuracy of the iPhone 13 Pro Max. In the first shot, the blues are bluer, the reds are oranger and the greens are, well, not very green on the 10 Pro. I mean, it is an attractive looking picture now, but I feel that the color tuning of the OnePlus 9 Pro Hasselblad system was slightly more closer to natural looking. And in this second sample, if you look at the gradients in the sky, the 13 Pro Max just looks so good here. Now, the dynamic range performance is not too bad on the OnePlus 10 Pro, but in certain situations, like this shot with the 3x camera, the iPhone 13 Pro Max just smokes it. But the HDR is not always the best on the iPhone 13 Pro Max, especially when you look at this picture of Sagar shot against a very harshly lit background. Clearly, the OnePlus 10 Pro is doing a better job here. Moreover, in the second picture, the OnePlus 10 Pro's sharp sensor comes in handy with the sharper textures too. That said, the facial tones are more accurate on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Now, if you're capturing portraits, the 10 Pro zooms in 2x using the main camera and doesn't use the telephoto. Therefore, it ends up looking soft. The edge detection is good though. In 1x portraits, the level of depth is higher on the 10 Pro. I'd say portraits are pretty good on the 10 Pro, and if you're shooting your friends and family, then the OnePlus 10 Pro actually does a good job with, pictures of people. However, selfies are way better on the iPhone. Whether you're shooting in even light or portraits, you're bound to appreciate how good it looks compared to the OnePlus 10 Pro. These selfies look incredibly crisp, detailed, and have better facial tones as well. OnePlus doesn't do much to control the bright spots all over my face and hence ends up overexposing it. Ultra-wide shots look equally good on both the phones. But the OnePlus 10 Pro has an ace up its sleeve, and that is the 150-degree camera that lets you take some insane perspectives. I really love that mode. In fact, I did talk in detail about the fisheye mode and the importance of it in my previous camera comparison with the OnePlus 9 Pro. Again, you must check it out. By the way, the OnePlus 10 Pro for some odd reason cannot shoot macros, which the OnePlus 9 Pro could. Now, Apple added a macro mode with the iPhone 13 series this year, and therefore, when you look at these shots, the macro shots look way better and sharper. I've achieved the macro shot using the telephoto on the OnePlus 10 Pro out here. Now, talking about telephotos, it is the 3x telephoto camera on the iPhone 13 Pro Max that just smokes the OnePlus 10 Pro's 3.3x telephoto. Every time I punched in with these cameras, the iPhone just made a more attractive picture. From color science consistency to great dynamic range and low light performance, the OnePlus 10 Pro couldn't match up to the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I'm glad that the telephoto exists on the OnePlus 10 Pro, but it's high time that OnePlus actually brings a better solution to the table. Now, in low light shots, the OnePlus 10 Pro just wants to make everything look brighter. And therefore, you can see how the black night sky turns gray here and the picture ends up losing a lot of the dynamics that the iPhone 13 Pro Max can capture. Now, shooting a concert in the night is actually a complex situation and the iPhone 13 Pro Max is clearly better at making, better memories. Now, even if it isn't a very complex situation, the OnePlus 10 Pro does tend to brighten the scene a tad too much. It shows that the IMX789 inside the OnePlus 10 Pro is actually a very capable sensor that lets in a lot of light and actually shoots sharp pictures, but the algorithm needs to tune it right and make night look like night. Although I do still find it annoying that the 13 Pro Max tends to crush the shadows a lot in certain low light situations. By the way, my analysis for low light shots is also true for low light ultra wide shots, and low light selfies are also crisper on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. And when it comes to low light videos in 4K 60 FPS, the iPhone shoots far less noisier footage compared to the OnePlus. Now, it is not like the OnePlus 10 Pro shoots bad video footage. It is good enough for an Android phone. It can shoot up to 8K videos. But when I compared the 4K 60 FPS footage to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, you can clearly see the difference. The 13 Pro Max just offers better footage with no focus hunting, better dynamic range, and a spot-on exposure too. I do like the sound recording on the OnePlus 10 Pro though. While the iPhone sounds cleaner with better environmental noise correction, it is the OnePlus 10 Pro that captures more of the bass and the minute details because it has an extended dynamic range when it comes to sound recording. And if you're shooting videos using the ultra wide angle camera or the telephoto, again, the iPhone is better. Now, videos using the front camera are a huge letdown on the OnePlus 10 Pro because it is capped at 1080p 30 FPS. The iPhone can shoot in 4K 60 FPS with Dolby Vision. Undoubtedly, it looks stunning. The OnePlus 10 Pro did manage to trouble the iPhone 13 Pro Max once or twice in our camera comparison. It's not like the 10 Pro has a bad set of cameras, but considering the hype around that Hasselblad partnership, there is still a lot of work to be done. But yeah, I'm very cognizant of the fact that the iPhone is a far more expensive phone, and maybe the iQOO 9 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy S22 would be the perfect competitors. Let me know if you guys want a camera comparison with those phones, but I have a feeling that those phones will shoot better pictures than the OnePlus 10 Pro. Now, moving on from the cameras, I know that a lot of people do not like the camera cutout design of the OnePlus 10 Pro. But you know what? I like it. It stands out and it is very unique. The situation is very similar to when OnePlus made a circular camera cutout with the OnePlus 7T. And trust me, whenever I see that phone in flesh, it actually stands out. And I'm pretty certain this one, if it's without a case, is gonna stand out too. Now, as for the 10 Pro, the Corning Gorilla Glass Victus on the back and the front blends into this lovely aluminum frame, and the in-hand feel is fantastic, and you get a really good case inside the box. In fact, I've been rocking it with this sandpaper case, which actually adds to the grip as well. I really like this green color, but there's also one in black which looks pretty good too. Now, the rest of the design includes a Type-C 3.1 port at the bottom, stereo speakers, and no headphone jack. And of course, the fantastic alert slider exists. By the way, talking about the speaker, the 10 Pro's stereo speaker setup sounds very good, pretty loud, but I still think that the Mi 11 Ultra with its Harman Kardon speakers is still the benchmark for the best sounding set of speakers inside a smartphone. Anyway, take a listen for yourself and let me know what you guys think of the speaker sound of the OnePlus 10 Pro. All that said, there's one major baffling omission, and that is there is no IP rating on the OnePlus 10 Pro. I'm certain that it can, withstand a few splashes, but having that IP rating would have given a peace of mind. And you know what's the other thing that's baffling to me? Is that you guys don't hit the red subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it. It motivates us to make more videos, and maybe even like and comment below for the sake of YouTube algorithm. Now, if you know me and if you've followed my work, you know that I'm not a fan of curved displays, primarily because they are uncomfortable to hold and also ghost touches are bound to happen. Having said that, I will not deny that curved displays look attractive. And when it's a curved display like the one on the OnePlus 10 Pro, which offers QHD resolution, 120Hz refresh rate, 1300 nits of peak brightness, and support for HDR content in Netflix and YouTube, you're bound to appreciate how good it looks. It is an absolutely gorgeous display to watch videos on and play games. The outdoor brightness is very good too, and the color accuracy is also very good with no visible color shift either. In fact, the low brightness can also go really low when you're actually using the phone in the dark, in the night, and there is no visible color banding either, which is fantastic. This is an A+ display overall. Now, also part of the display is the haptic feedback, and it is pretty good. It's not the tightest one around, but there is good vibration feedback integration throughout the software and the system, so it feels really good to use. Also, I like the fact that the optical in-display fingerprint scanner is at the right position and is really fast to unlock the phone. The OnePlus 10 Pro, of course, comes with Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, which is the best chip from Qualcomm today. And you get LPDDR5 RAM up to 12 GB. And of course, you get that extra, virtual RAM as well. And you also get UFS 3.1 storage up to 256 GB. Now, the AnTuTu benchmark numbers lie between the iQOO 9 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. And when it comes to CPU throttling performance, actually the OnePlus 10 Pro does a better job compared to the iQOO 9 Pro. But the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, after the update, has started performing better. But that's only the CPU throttle test. When we throttled the GPU using 3D Mark Wildlife stress test, the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra performed very badly, where the iQOO 9 Pro and the OnePlus 10 Pro actually did a better job. But in daily usage, the OnePlus 10 Pro just flies. It is the fastest and smoothest phone that I've ever used. Yes, even more than the iPhone. It also plays all games at the highest graphic settings, and it doesn't get too hot, not at least as hot as the iQOO 9 Pro did. So which is a very good thing. I'm just supremely glad and impressed that OnePlus has gone back to its roots of providing the most fluid Android smartphone experience out there. You also get support for a lot of 5G bands, and I also saw 4G plus carrier aggregation support as well. The call quality is also very, very good. Now, I remember somebody asking me on Twitter if this phone supports a dual SIM cards. Yes, it does. It does support dual nano SIM cards, at least in the Indian variant and maybe in the unlocked variant globally. Now coming to the battery, OnePlus has bumped up the battery capacity on the OnePlus 10 Pro. You now get a 5000 mAh battery instead of the 4500 mAh battery on the OnePlus 9 Pro. And this is essential for a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 phone. I ran 3 battery runs, once with QHD Plus and 120Hz refresh rate, and twice with FHD Plus resolution and 120Hz refresh rate. And almost all the times I actually got, a screen on time in the vicinity of, 5 hours, which is strictly a 1-day battery life. But that's also because I was battering the phone when I was using it. And if you're using it normally, you might get slightly better battery life. Having said that, the benchmark for the best battery performance with Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip is still the Moto H30 Pro. I don't know how it does it, but it does it really well. You get at least 6 hours of screen on time. The battery charging speeds have also been upgraded to the 80-watt Super Whoop charging speed as opposed to 65-watt on the OnePlus 9 Pro. It takes about the same time, though, 30 minutes to charge both these phones, but that's because this one has a 5000 mAh battery and that one has a 4500 mAh battery. But what I noticed is that 80-watt is not a huge upgrade over 65-watt. And also, let's not forget, the OnePlus 10 Pro also supports 50-watt fast wireless charging speeds as well, and it can reverse wireless charge other phones as well. The OnePlus 10 Pro runs on the latest Oxygen OS 12.1 based on Android 12, and it also has the latest February security patch. OnePlus promises 3 years of Android operating system updates and 4 years of security patch updates. If you're looking at Android operating system skins and third-party app installs, then Oxygen OS is still one of the cleanest ones out there, and it is definitely the most customizable for sure. Yes, the ColorOS codebase integration with Oxygen OS has created a few design inconsistencies in UI and UX, but I'm pretty certain that OnePlus will wipe all of that out with the Oxygen OS 13 update. And anyway, this is frankly as premium a software as it gets. You can change icon packs, you can customize the system color themes, you can also change, and automatically create wallpapers. There's just a laundry list of features that's there for us to appreciate. And I like the fact that the OnePlus shelf is now invoked by, swiping down from the top right corner, which is actually a very clean way to do it. And of course, you also get the Discover feed too. After using the OnePlus 10 Pro, I'm just glad that OnePlus is going back to doing the right things with software and is listening to customer feedback too. I must admit, when I went into using the OnePlus 10 Pro, I had very low expectations, but I ended up enjoying it more than using the OnePlus 9 Pro. That is primarily because of the better tuning of performance and far less bugs compared to the OnePlus 9 Pro when I reviewed it last year. And if you're looking overall at the phone, the cameras are good enough, the display is fantastic, the performance is great, batteries are as good as it gets with Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, fast charging is extremely fast, and Oxygen OS 12 is not bad either. What more could one really want? IP rating, you say? Are you hearing that, OnePlus? Don't remove things. Now, I wouldn't go so far as to say that this is the comeback phone for OnePlus where it goes back to its roots. There's still time for it, but this is definitely a better experience than the OnePlus 9 Pro, that I'm sure of. So that was a very detailed review of the OnePlus 10 Pro. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know what kind of comparisons would you like to see next, and what do you guys think of the OnePlus 10 Pro. Until next time, this is Ershad signing off. Keep tracking and stay safe.